for joining us. My name is Ada Bobino, and I'm the founder and director of the San Antonio Black International Film Festival. And I hope you've enjoyed today's showcase as much as it was needed. We are celebrating Mental Health Month. This is May 2024. And we thought that this documentary would be a perfect, perfect segue into really talking about and bringing very important issues to the forefront. Um, One of the things about healing, it is a journey, and that is something that we must keep in mind as we continue to live our life. I want to bring forward, we are so honored to have the filmmaker and one of our team members joining us. I'm going to bring BJ Cannon on. BJ is one of our team members and hails from Memphis, Tennessee, and living in San Antonio now, DP and a writer, director of photography and writer. And welcome, special guest, Antwon Lindsey, who is hailing from Florida, actually. I want to just say Antwon is born and raised in Liberty City, Miami, and he's the president of A38 Films, whose model is changing lives through storytelling. He's produced the film Reticent. It's Cause Because Black Boys Can't Cry, 2019. The Color of Love in 2020. And of course, Hush, which you just seen, was we were honored to play that in our film festival in sabiff for 2023. Antwon has always been and found literature, always been fond of literature and film. And he's wrote the book The We in Us, which Antwon was inspired while you were actually creating Hush. And that book was dedicated to your mom, who really encouraged you to read and write and literature and everything. And just one of the things, you're a firm believer that the only person that can stop you from turning your dreams into reality is yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Antwon Lindsey. Yay! I'm hearing the applause in the background. Yay! So Antwon, welcome. So listen, let me just say this. Reviews. Okay, with the reviews that this film has received. Listening how mental health was created with the African American community really has me in awe. This documentary made me think about intergenerational traumas and how I have in my family, and how not to repeat them and pass them to my children. And then lastly, beautifully expressed words of wisdom to a group of people who need to understand the power of curating a healthy mental health. So what, Antwon, inspired you to bring this film to the forefront? I want to start with that.
Yeah. So again, thank you for having me. I really truly appreciate this opportunity of sharing this story of Hush and what inspired me to create it. What inspired me was essentially life itself. I had gone through my own, struggles of trying to understand what the things that I had experienced were about. And so it caused me to question a lot of things in life myself. Why do we exist? Why do people die? A lot of these different things. And as I sort of gathered this information for myself, I thought about, wow, man, if I'm going through this, I know that there must be a lot of different people going through this as well. And as I started to talk to some of my friends and buddies, I realized that, people really were going through this. And so I chose to create Hush because I wanted to share a story that was not only specific to the Black community, but was something that was universal. So we all suffer in some capacity, whether it be from guilt, shame, regret, even when we terms of grief, from death and maybe relationships that are no longer existing. And I wanted to be able to give people the opportunity to connect with themselves and to understand how to better connect with other people so we can make this world a better place.
So what are some of, and BJ, you can jump in here too whenever you want to, but I was wondering, what are some of the takeaways that you've experienced from audiences once they walk away from seeing this? I read some reviews but just being there personally, having watched it with audiences.
Yeah, it's an amazing experience. There's a scene in the film where when we were creating it, I knew that it was going to be the scene that sold the film. And to hear people in the middle of the theaters, or whether it be at universities, screening the film, and they're crying in the middle of watching this film, and then by the end of it, they're all happy, and having these conversations about, thank you, Antwon, for creating this, because you know I I didn't know that this is the reason why I do this, but I see it. Or I knew that this was the reason why I did this, but my spouse or my mom or my dad, they didn't want to be able to accept it. And now I can show them this film to be able to bridge that gap, to have this conversation with them so we can change the narrative. So those have been some of the very informative perspectives that I've gotten from people. And it's just been amazing just to see that overwhelmingly the reception of it has been positive.
Can you describe the inspiration behind the film and why you choose to focus on Black mental health issues?
Yeah, so the inspiration itself, again, back in 2012, I had a cousin that died by suicide, which then, sort of gave me an opportunity to think about suicide for the very first time. And then as I was at college at a predominantly white institution, Florida Gulf Coast University, I was a Black male campus leader. And there was a lot of pressure on me, that some of I put on myself, some of the community put on me, to create change. And I struggled with that, still dealing with things, back home at my community where my best friends were being shot, in times that I was supposed to be there with them. And it just kind of put a lot of pressure on me. And then when my great grandmother passed away, before she passed, she told me that you're going to do something to change the world. And, I didn't really know what that was. But then this idea, Hush, came to me like 2 o'clock in the morning one night. And I'm like, you know what? This is a great idea. Like, I wonder if I can do this and create a movie about this, and, things like that. And it took me about 7 years to actually bring that into, well, I'll say 6, to bring that into fruition, because I knew that this vision of mine was so huge that I couldn't just go ahead and do it. I had to go ahead and gain the experience. And I had one or two options. It was to, quit my job and go to these Hollywoods, New York, Atlanta, and go work on somebody else's production, or do it how I know I can do it from where I grew up. You want to figure out how to do something, go make it happen. And I did all the research that I could and put together, a team to create my first film, which was an adaptation of my very first book. That same year, got invited to Facebook headquarters. I said, I must be doing something right, Then went ahead and created the second film in the very same year, in 2019. Then after that, I'm like, all right, then I must be ready to create Hush. And so those are some of the things that helped inspire me to create the film, is my own personal experiences of being devoted to my vision.
So, Reticent, the first film you did, was that something that was inspired by, you say from Liberty City, Miami? Now, I don't know Liberty City, Miami, but was that first film inspired by your surroundings in Liberty City? Where did that come from? Because to me, it's like you led your initial work led into Hush. You know what I'm saying, in terms of mental health and trauma.
Well, I say it in reverse, because Hush was an idea that came about. Well, the first book, yeah, Reticent. The first book was the idea that led into Hush. In the same year, like I published a book in May. That July, I have it on my notes. I went back and looked at my previous notebooks. In July, I created the idea for Hush, and this was back in 2017. And so, like I said, I knew I couldn't do Hush at the moment because I didn't have the experience of how to really create film, how to really tell good story. I wouldn't say that, excuse me, the first film led into me creating Hush, but it definitely helped me on a journey of learning how to be a better filmmaker, thus being able to create Hush.
Well, can you describe any character from any scene that really, I guess, stands out and really touches you from the movie?
Um, so the film is a very unique piece of art, where there's a narrative and a sort of interview piece within the film. The characters that they all really, I can connect with all of them, but the two characters that I found the most interesting were King and Queen within the film, because there is a piece of storytelling that's called show don't tell, and in designing that piece for them, it was all about being able to show what they were feeling, being able to show what they were thinking without actually telling you what they were feeling and what they were thinking. And that was the most beautiful aspect to me, because some people didn't get it, but most people got it and they loved it, because I loved it. I just said in the speech that I did recently was that, when I create something, I always look at it like, when I finish this, how am I going to feel about the end product? And if somebody else enjoys it, then that's just a bonus. And so I'm glad that, those bonus points of other people enjoying what I thought was a beautiful creation happen.
Well, how did you come up with mixing and with fusing in the characters and the dinner feast, and how did you come up with that whole idea to interweave between the story of the mental health professionals talking interview?
Yeah, so what I thought about was when I looked at other films, right? Because as a filmmaker, you have to do your research. Just in general, whatever field you in, you have to do your research, to see what's out there. As a scientist, I would say, you look at previous work to see what exists and what can we do to enhance this. And so what I did was I looked at previous works, previous films, documentaries, narratives, all these different things, and I said, well, if I were to create my film, what would I do? What can I take from these films and also enhance it to create, a really wonderful piece? And so what I noticed was that a lot of documentaries are very, very informational, data driven, and then you can get lost in them. They're very dark in their scenes, and you can really get lost in them. So what I said was I didn't want to do that. This is a film about a topic that we already consider dark. I want to make sure that everything is nice, vibrant, loving when people watch it. And so I decided to go ahead and create this, excuse me, this aspect of intertwining, instead of having B-roll and, archival footage. I wanted to, and plus we talk about IP and you have to be able to license things and stuff like that. I wanted to create something where I owned it all, one. And then two, it changed the dynamic of what documentary filmmaking looked like. And so being able to add this component for myself, where I created this film within the film, it gave people that edge in terms of being able to understand it, because we know that most people are visual learners as well. So you can talk to them all day, but sometimes they got to actually see what's going on. And so I wanted to be able to incorporate both of those things, because a lot of people that, primarily will be interested in Hush aren't people, are people that have higher education degrees. The people that later down the line will probably watch Hush are folks who may not be college educated and or have some, high school, but creating that to make sure that everybody got a piece of the pie equally was something that was at the forefront for me, because I wanted to give people that opportunity. I always think about my family back at home. How can I create a film for my family to enjoy when I'm the only person, well, the first person out of two to go off to college and get a college degree? There's only 2 of us in our family, and one of them did it because they saw me do it. So I think about that is, well, if I create this film, I know I can't have all these big words in here because they going, oh yeah, that's nice, Twan. That was cute. That was cute. That was good. But I want them to really be engaged with it and to really be like, man, that's beautiful, and that's actually what happened. My
It was
family is
beautiful.
forever changed because of this film.
Beautiful.
Can you explain me, I guess, the challenges that you had to deal with on production? Any challenges that you had to probably came across, and how did
Did you
you
have
deal
problems
with it?
raising money? Did you? I mean, where did the big challenges come in? That's always a problem for filmmakers, money.
Yeah. Excuse me. The challenge that I had really was it was more internal than anything. Dealing with, am I, biting off more than I can chew by trying to create this film and, do these different screenings across the country and get people, access to mental health resources. It was really more so internal. I feel like everything else that happened during production, in terms of whether this thing didn't happen, so we had to, or this thing didn't happen.
Oh, I'm getting freeze. I'm getting a freeze. Are you getting it, BJ? Too freeze.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. We
Okay,
kind
can
of
you
lost
say that
you.
again? Say that again. Pick that up for me because you froze and we didn't hear one of the big challenges you're saying internally.
Yeah, so the biggest challenge for me was just the internal component of it is looking at myself and asking, am I biting off more than I can chew by trying to create this film that I think is going to change the world, and be able to add resources to different communities, and, things of that nature. But, the other component was, as I was thinking is, everything else that happened during production, whether it be we had to change locations or, we had to spend a little bit more time during post, during editing, all of those things. It was things that I expected to happen, and prepared myself for happening. Some issues that did occur, it was the very first time that I was able to experience it. And so of course you deal with the frustration, but it's like, well, I'm glad I went through this because now I know how to be more efficient the next time. Because if I do this again, then that's on me. If I don't prepare myself the next time for, this opportunity or this particular situation happening, then that's just kind of on me. When it came to the fundraising component, there wasn't any issue with fundraising because I had a specific goal that I wanted to have, which is 30% fundraising, 70% personal equity. So that way I didn't have to wait on people giving me money to go ahead and do what I wanted to do. Have my own money, and I had developed my team. Let's go ahead, let's start. And then we'll get the rest of the money on the back end to do the marketing things that we need to do, all these other different kind of things to pay that off. But I just, I personally believe in betting on myself and putting my money, towards me and what I wanted to achieve. And that means also investing into other people and their craft and their ability to get the jobs done. And at the end of it, when it comes to the ownership of the IP, I own it all. I get to do whatever it is that I want to do with it. And I don't have to answer to anyone in terms of, well, hey, yeah, you submitted this grant, but we need to see this and we need to see that, and we can't give you the second half of the grant until we see this portion of the film and blah, blah, blah. I didn't want to deal with all of that. So I went ahead and just 70% personal funds. We'll do some crowdfunding, 30%, to make sure that we also have that community engagement piece where folks know that they're not only supporting me and what it is that I want to do, but they're supporting the community as well by me being able to create this film that's going to change so many different lives. So they may not get a return on the investment financially, but the return on the investment is that because they contributed to this film, they also have helped change people's lives.
So I mean, a couple of things came from that for me. I mean, one, did you have a big budget? What was your budget in terms of bringing? How I'm doing production questions because these are things that people want to
Mhm.
How long was production? How long did it take for you to shoot this? Did you break it up into weekends? Did you, yeah, how did it all come together? Um, especially, I mean, shooting, did you shoot all of the vignettes at one time and then just kind of get the interviews randomly, you know, at different times? Or did the interviews
Yeah,
just come
no.
in one day and you
Um,
scheduled? How did that work? Just tell us about that.
yeah. So being a first time documentarian, there is no guideline, there is no video on how to correctly do a documentary because documentaries are so abstract. You can do whatever you really want to do. You're telling the story to inform
Yeah.
people. And so what I did was I looked at, my college education. What did I have to do? I had to write papers, right? And you had to be very specific in telling the story when you're, or getting your point across when you're writing these papers. And so what I did was I thought of it in that terms of this is going to be a paper that I'm going to write. So I need to make sure that if
Mm.
let's put it like this, I was supposed to do my doctorate. I was going to do my doctorate in higher education. The day before my interview, I canceled the interview because I knew I had to dedicate my time to doing a documentary. And so
Wow.
with that being said, yep. And with that being said, I said, well, okay, I have to make sure that this documentary is going to be worth more than what I would have ever gotten by doing my doctorate. And so I had to put everything into it. And also creating the 3-act structure is making sure that we're telling the story within those guidelines as well. And I kind of made Hush a 4-act structure. But that's just a little bit of things in terms of the actual production, pre-production. Of course, like I said, planning things out, making sure that we had the questions that we wanted to ask the interviewees. That was the first half of it. Casting all of those beautiful things, having a wonderful casting team, and then in addition to that, being able to plan out what days that we wanted to shoot based on everybody's availability. And the primary thing was we didn't ask for everybody's availability. We told them when they were going to be shooting and made them figure it out because you signed up to be a part of this. And so that was the biggest thing for us is you don't want to ask people, you think about Apple and all these larger corporations. They don't ask you what you want for your updates in your phone. They just give them to you. And so that same approach is that, hey, if we ask people, we're going to get too many answers. We have to tell them because again, this is our team. This is our first time doing a documentary, but it wasn't our first time doing production. And so we kept the same philosophy that we did when we did Color of Love. And then in terms of the interviews, we did them. We did the interviews back in 2021 for over a course of 2 to 3 months. We did the interviews, and then in 2022 in April, for one day, we shot the entire visual art piece. We started at 8 a.m. in the morning. We had some delays that set us back like completely crazily. But again, you get to learn from those experiences about time buffers and how to make sure that, for the next time, well, we're going to do something a little bit differently. And so we shot that all in one day. And then post-production took us about, I would say, a few months, just because I was a stickler for the color grading for everything, and particularly the music, the musical score, the original piece that was composed. I
Great
just had to,
music.
thank you. I had to make sure that the music also told the story. So there was a harmonic balance between the visuals, the artistic aspect of it, and the dialogue, the artistic aspect, as well as the musical component. So that way we really crafted a really well put together film.
Very well done.
So the piggyback off the color and the cinematography, how did you tend to come up and what inspired you for us the color grading and in the music as well? Because it was a beautiful cinematography of
Cool.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the cinematography, like I said, you go and you look at other films, right? I didn't go to film school. I didn't go and attend Full Sail down here in Florida. You know, I didn't go to NYU to attend their film school. I simply said, well, if I can get a master's degree or a bachelor's degree, that means I'm capable of doing research. If I enjoy this enough, then I'm capable of devoting my time, energy, and effort towards achieving this. And so I went ahead and I did all of the necessary research, buying books, watching films. You know, I sat down with my cinematographer and we watched a few films together and we took notes and we talked about how we wanted to, you know, sort of make a scene like this, but do it a little bit differently and, you know, kind of compile this information together. So by the time we got ready to shoot the film, we already knew exactly what the film was going to look like. And that's a part of the storyboarding process. So that way, when you go out there, you're not spending their time running and gunning and, you know, trying to figure out, oh, you know what, should we do this? Should we do that? It's like, no, we know what the scene is going to look like. We know what frame rate. We know what lens that we're going to be using. We know which type of shot we're going to be trying to achieve with camera A, camera B, and then we're going to go ahead and move on.
You didn't need to go to film school. You can teach film school now. You don't need to go to film school. You teach it.
YouTube Academy. YouTube Academy.
You know, yeah. I guess I'll add this secret too. This is a secret that I really haven't ever told, but we use YouTube Academy Studio Binder. It's a really great platform to look at, Studio Binder. But primarily, I went to museums and I looked at pieces of art. I looked at artwork. I bought art books because I'm like, these are the people who created these phenomenal visuals that literally are just on a canvas. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, if I can create films that look like this, then I'm gonna be an amazing filmmaker because that's what I want to do. I don't want to just be a willy-nilly, hey, yeah, I'm a filmmaker, and you're not really investing the time and energy into creating a really, you know, marvelous piece. I went to museums a lot and I looked and I studied, you know, how did they get angles to do this? How did they be able to, you know, do the depth of field, scale, all these different aspects. And that's what really helped me craft this film. And my first attempt at being able to use that information and put it together.
You know, part of filmmaking is common sense. Part of being a director is having common sense. And that's how you have a good eye and you're creative, but a lot of it is common sense because you gotta think on a dime and change things up when you need to. You have to do the research, the production, the development. So a lot of that comes with who you are as a person in order to bring these things into reality. I want to know, Hush, what made you decide on the name? Can you go into that, the name? Because that a lot of times leads a lot.
So the name Hush, again, it came to me at 2 a.m. in the morning.
That 2 a.m. prime time.
3 a.m. it hit me. It's like I woke up like, Hush. Why am I? You know, that'll be a great name for a movie. And the next day, I created this draft, movie poster. It's like they say you visualize it, you could bring it to life. And so I created it and I had it, and I didn't have the acronym. I just knew that Hush. But what did Hush? What was it going to mean? And I again, visualizing my notebook, I had several different themes that I had, help us stop, something and all these different things. And then it was like, help us say help. I was like, oh, that's crazy. I say, that's crazy. That's it. That's the one, because that's what this film, that's what the messaging for this film is that within our community, we're silenced and we have silenced ourselves. So we're not speaking up for help. So how about this? Instead of silencing ourselves, how about we find a way to help us say help? Because that's really what everybody wants to say, but they just haven't been able to vocalize it.
So
I don't know about you, but names usually come from me. I'm just going to say this, BJ. Names usually come from me. The film usually comes from the name. But when I heard Hush, initially what brought me back was to the biblical, the song, somebody's calling my name, oh my Lord, the spiritual.
Yeah.
And that's what came to my mind initially, the spiritual, the old spiritual, and how we usually are told to hush and not
Mm.
express ourselves, stay in your place, be quiet. I mean, that's what came to my mind initially before even knowing what the acronym spelled out. So yeah. Go ahead, BJ. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no worries. I was going to ask. So, as a young, inspired DP and writer, how can you, I guess, inspire others? Like for someone like you, what's the initiative or steps that they had to take to get to making a documentary or a feature film? Because I know a lot of people like us as color, it's hard for us to get the funding, and it's just hard for us to step out there because we get judged by others because we're we're judgmental. So I was wondering, how do you go past being a young, successful black man like you to make many films and documentaries just like this?
Well, for me, man, I don't care about all of that. Like, people gonna judge you, whether you want them to or not. Just a few weeks ago, I was at my brother's football game. He's a coach. He's coaching the spring football. I'm in the stands. Nobody knows that he's my fraternity brother. And they're just like, oh, he don't need to be the coach. Why he doing calling these plays? But just a week before that, his team blew another team out like 70 something to zip. So I'm just sitting here saying, man, this is a beautiful explanation that no matter if you're doing something really great or if you're not meeting other people's expectations, people are gonna have something to say. So who cares? Do what's best for you, because ultimately that's what's best for everybody else. And that's just how I live. Like, I gotta do what's best for me. Have I always lived up to that standard? No, I haven't. I had to try to really get myself to really devoting the time and energy towards accepting that that is the way that I have to live. So inspiring other people, I'll be real with you. I don't care to inspire people. They have to inspire themselves. They have to go ahead and say that this is what I want to do. How am I going to do it? All I can do is try to help people. If someone wants to do something, I can help you, but I'm not going to spend my time trying to inspire you to do this because, hey, if you want to experience this, then you have to do it. I can't do it for you, but I can help you. So that's how I look at the word inspiration. If people are inspired by me, then I just challenge them to live up to what you say you want to do. If I inspire you, then that means that you're doing what it is that you say you want to do in life. And you're not just, succumbing to doubt, fear, and excuses, and then ultimately becoming complacent and inactive what it is that you desire to do. So don't worry about what people got to say. Go make your films. Go do what you got to do. Live your life. At the end of the day, we're here for average 76 years, 77 out of the billions of years that this universe and this planet has been in existence. You don't have as much time as you think you do.
Yeah.
So I guess the next one I would say, how have you started out with a mentor? Did anyone mentor you to get to the stage that you are? Or because most people I know have mentors. So did you have a mentor, or did you just study? Because I have visual mentors. So and like my visual mentor is not Steve Jobs. What's his name? Jordan Peele and Stephen King. Because those two people that I write stories like that. So I have visual mentors. Do you have a mentor?
Well, people that whose work that I look at, like I said, I look at everybody's work, man. And the essence about being a creative is that, what's the saying that they say, there's nothing new under the sun. So
Yeah.
everything that we choose to draw the encouragement or the enrichment from, it's something that somebody else was exposed to, and they just kind of formulated into how they want to express their art. And so for me, I look at a lot of different people. There's not one specific person that I look at and say, yeah, I want to be and do and create like this person does. No, I want to create how I want to create, but I enjoy having an abundant, group of individuals and folks that I can I can sort of resource in terms of looking at how can I create what I want to create. But now, if we talk about mentors and life, yes, I have about, well, I only have two mentors, two people that I really consider my mentors in life. And those are individuals who have guided me through the process of, understanding myself and being able to understand what my true desire is in life, and being able to just grow. And so those are the mentors that I have. But in terms of film, hey man, I had to get it out the mud, man. I had to had to figure it out. Like I said, if I told myself, if I can get a master's degree coming from Liberty City, Miami, and not having any help, when I left, like me and my mom was talking about it. Like when I left when I was 20 years old, I didn't have my mom to pay for my rent and to pay for a car and to do this and do that. Everything that I have, I had to go and figure it out. I had to literally go out there and figure it out while having a kid at a very young age, having to figure it out and not giving myself excuses. Because when I get to a certain age and my son goes and look back and he starts to see who I really am I going to be an imposter or am I going to be the real deal? And I said, I'm not going to, my son, hey, if you come to me and he say that, oh, this and that, I'm going to listen to him. But at the end of the day, what I don't want to do is to have to listen to my son tell me the truth about myself, and that I failed him as a father, and that I failed myself as a human being by not doing the things that I actually wanted to do. So I wasn't going for that.
You know what? I want to just mention about your mother, because she seems like she has just been a true inspiration for you. Um, can you talk about how her? I mean, there's something special about her, obviously, to have to introduce you to literature, introduce you to different things, to got you to college. I mean, can you just talk about her and her inspiration to you, and how important it is, if you don't have a mentor, to have a support system behind you to support what you do?
Yeah, my mom, when I was young, I would watch her write lyrics to her favorite songs. She would rewrite the lyrics, remix them, and she'd write messages to herself. And, there was one time I did ask her, hey, Mom, can I help you write a song? And she let me. And so when she invited me into the world of storytelling, she didn't know that she would be planting those same seeds of her joy and her love for storytelling within me. And, on this journey of me being able to figure things out, she's been there. She may not have had, the things that I might have been looking for, in terms of the financial security and all these different things. But when she was able to give, she gave. And for that, I give her more than she can ask for. Like, she got my credit card, whatever you're going to use on it, use it. Like, it don't matter to me, because you gave me more than I could have ever asked for. And so, those are the ways that I look at it in terms of being able to repay her back, and to just really appreciate all of the sacrifices that she made for me, because she had me when she was young and she was just trying to figure out herself as well. And I asked her recently, I said, Mom, did you have any dreams or aspirations, that you wanted to achieve right before you had me that I might have messed up? And she was like, to be honest, nah. She's like, nah, like
Wow.
I'm good. I'm good. And I was like, all right, cool. That takes a load off of me.
So I
True,
got a
true. That's
question.
beautiful.
I know a lot of people are wondering, and we were wondering too. What do you got cooking for us next? Do you have anything coming up for the next 5 years?
Yeah, the next 5 years, I have everything that I imagine I will do coming. And you just have to wait to see what that is.
Ah, so you're not gonna give us
Oh,
no teaser? No teaser, no spoiler, no nothing.
Nope, that sounds bad. Teasers, spoilers, that sounds like old milk and somebody playing, immature games. Nope, you get the real when you get the real.
I feel you. Moving silence. I
you
like that.
you have
Moving silence.
MPA behind your name. You're
Mhm.
public health.
So that's Masters of Public Administration.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
So private,
Okay.
public, government entities. I used to
So
do that, but
you totally did a 360 on your initial career goals and aspirations, huh? That's
mhm.
excellent. We are the
It
ones
was,
that benefit.
it was a thing that was always in me. I was doing things that, the world told me that if you achieve this and you do this, then you'll be able to make this amount of money, you'll be this successful, and you'll be this happy. And when I kept hearing people tell me like, oh, when you get this doctorate, Antwon, man, what you want to do with the film, you're going to be able to have all these different sort of connections and this and that. And I'm just sitting here saying, bro, you telling me I got to wait another 4 years just to get those connections,
Mm,
just to open up those? Nah, I'm good. I'm going to do this documentary so I can get
mm.
these doors open now. Because again, I don't know if I'm. Who knows what's going to happen in 4 years? I don't know if I would have still been here now to in 2023 had I chose to defer my dream and pursue something that other people was telling me that it would be
Right.
best for me. No, I'm straight. I'm going to go ahead and do what I want to do, which is create this film, because at least when it is time for me to get up out of here, I will not have it sitting within me saying, man, if you would have did that film, man, who knows what would have happened. Nah, I'm going to do it, see what happens. Yeah, whatever happens, happens. I'm good with that, because at least I did what I wanted to do. And I didn't let anybody or anything stop me from doing that.
Let that be a lesson to everyone to follow your dreams. And that even helps with the mental health. Hello, doing what you want to do, doing what's in your heart. So tell us how people can reach you. How can they see your works? How can they get a hold of you?
So people can visit the website 838films.com. You can see the other films that we do have. We also have Hush available right now for streaming for
Oh,
nominal
great.
fee, and also Hush is available for licensing for public and free screenings. So if you go to the website, you can be able to host a screening of Hush in your community. If you're a mental health organization, or if you're just someone that wants to spread the word about mental health within the Black community, you can license the film right now today by going to 838films.com, clicking on Hush, and it'll take you right there to the information that you need.
Excellent. Well, we are just so honored that you switched your path, your career goals, your aspirations, and leaving this legacy in film and filmmaking. And we are the ones that benefit from that. So, Antwon, I want to thank you, yay, for spending this time with us. BJ, thank you for coming and helping us with this interview. Um,
Appreciate you.
we want to just encourage everyone to go to a38films.com and rent the film, lease the film, get it out to as many people as possible. Every mental health facility, every school, every library should have this film, period.
Yeah.
It's and there's so much to learn, so much to gain. And like you said, one of the interviewees said, healing is a journey. It is a journey. So thank
Mhm.
you very much. We appreciate you, and we look forward to any and every other film that you're making. So you all take care and have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you.